Other question? Okay, hopefully I can speed this up along. Okay, so the interview. Right? The goal of the interview, again, not to be dishonest, is to get the job offer. First thing is that first impressions matter. This is from Toy Story. Right? So when you get in there, make sure you get a phone interview or even get an in-person interview. If you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. Okay? Be there and not just punctual. Really be there and dress appropriately. And you can find out from the HR person, right? What is the dress code? Ask those questions about what the culture is there. And you often want to be just sort of like a one level higher than what they're dressing like. Right? And this is actually what I wear at my work, actually. So, but there's places that are maybe a little bit more buttoned up. So if it's a place that requires a collared shirt with a tie, right? Then I probably will do that plus a jacket, right? But if it's like a startup culture and the people are wearing flip-flops and shorts and a t-shirt, right? Maybe you'll have an untucked shirt or something, right? But you don't want to make people feel weird because when you walk in, everybody knows that person is interviewing, right? But that's fine, right? It's good to know that you're actually responsible and you're there to interview. But first impressions do matter. I think there's a couple of other things too. Is look at the fit. Right? So there's this idea of fit, of cultural fit. So, or as somebody told me, it's no longer about cultural fit. Right? So what I mean by, do you guys know what I mean by cultural fit? Is hey, this culture is like a young indie group or a really hardcore West Coast programming group or startup culture, right? Do you fit into that, or do you like to be a little bit more conservative or more button up, or and so you want to go in there and learn what that work culture is. But to me, if whether or not you fit in is one thing, but nowadays people are talking about cultural contributor. You really want to make sure that you're a cultural contributor. So not only are you fitting into the culture, but you are actually contributing to the positivity of the culture. And I'll give you an example. I have somebody on my team, his name is Abdul. Love that guy. Because not only did he come into our work and fit into the culture, but do you know what he started? Every day, he started our 3 o'clock, for 15 minutes, 3 o'clock stretching. So we do yoga for 15 minutes, just like a quick, afternoon, after lunch, where you might be full, right, and you need that pick-me-up. And we do a 3 o'clock stretch. And he leads it. And that's a cultural contributor. Ask yourself what you can do to contribute to the culture of the work environment, right? And when you see that you have a nice environment you can have fun, you can be yourself, right? And you can excel. That's great too. But there's other aspects of that fit too, which is, hey, maybe you care about working remotely, right? Working from home on certain days because you have certain constraints, or maybe you live like an hour away if you're commuting to, let's say, Dearborn or something. Maybe there's certain days you want to work from home. Other aspects, what else is there? I know people these days, the younger students, they love snacks. I don't know what it is about snacks, but they love snacks. But there's a lot of startups because there's value in it too, because when you go get your snacks, right, it's kind of like the water cooler, right? You go there, you talk about things, and you interact with colleagues. But if you're sitting in your area, you might not interact with other people in the business. And there's opportunities to sort of cross-pollinate between different people. And people like these days love their snacks. I've heard of people coming back from other companies and they're like, yeah, they have this wall of snacks and like Oreos and M&Ms, and wow. That's pretty cool too. But it depends on what you value. Everybody has different value systems, right? So to identify what is important to you. I mean, for me, it's the people. I want to work with people who are conscientious. That's my thing. I love people who are conscientious of me, of my time, and that I am of theirs. And there's sort of this mutual respect too, right? And so I'll stop there, and that's really like, when you're talking about the job, think about that cultural fit when you get in there, and ask tons of questions. And one other thing about sort of that interview process, that when you get in there, they'll ask you questions. You better know your resume. Every single data point on your resume, have a story about it that you can tell. And it isn't that you just put it there and it's like, and it turns out that, oh, I did a little bit of volunteering for it, or somebody invited me to it and I didn't really do anything. Don't put it on your resume, right? Because or if you do it, convey the importance of it. Because everything that you do, there must be something underlying that is very important about it. And what did you contribute that you felt was of value? So convey that in the interview. And also, again, I can't stress this enough, ask them a lot of questions to the interviewer, because I'll say to somebody at the end, I might have grilled them about maybe the data science aspect of things or the engineering side of things, right? And then I'll say, do you have any questions for me? And they're like, no. And it kind of shows like a disinterest. One of the easiest, no-brainer questions you can ask somebody is very simple. You can say, yeah, can you tell me the most challenging problem that you've had to solve in the last 6 months? Easy. And that opens up the door for follow-up questions too, right? So you're trying to get the point, right? But have interesting questions like that where you can get to know the culture and feel empowered that you can ask even other people and say, hey, can I talk to somebody that is not the manager? Can I sit down with 2 or 3 people on the team to understand what your day-to-day is like? And you can ask that question. Tell me your day-to-day. Tell me a life in you, a day in the life of you, or in the life of you. What does that look like? Right? When you sort of ask a question of how much time do you spend doing the data science work, ask them those same questions and see what the response is. And I think they'll start to find that data science is pretty sort of ubiquitous in what people are doing. So I'll pause there for questions before we move on to topics. Yes?
Does TD Ameritrade have technical interviews, and how would you prepare for one?
Yeah, so they do. On the data science team, on the advanced technology team, I think that we are just simply looking for people who are resourceful and have a curiosity and can pick up anything that we throw at them. Because we have projects that are switching like every several weeks, and there's no roadmap on how to do something, right? But on the other side, that are sort of hardcore programmers, I think they will ask questions that are sort of more on the engineering side of things. And I think there are several sort of engineering books that tell you how to prepare for these sort of code-related. Maybe Sid Bass can speak more to that. But there are definitely some sort of engineering and computer science realm, both about how to crack the engineering or computer science interviews. And I know that students these days, they will go and look at those. But from a data science perspective, you can answer, I have not seen a person actually build a linked list in industry in reality, right? Or actually implement a sorting algorithm, because it doesn't make sense, right? You should just get a package that does that, that's optimized for that. That's the realistic answer, right? Because I choose that, as a human being, I choose that pragmatic approach more than anything. But at the same time, if you say you're an engineer, or if you say you're a data scientist, you should at least have some fundamental understanding and knowledge, but you should also have some experience having tried out those packages, right? So that's how I would approach it, and definitely play with data sets, and play with dirty data sets. And that's where I go back to have an example of try to do something where it isn't a classroom data set, which is pretty and clean, like the Iris data set, or some other data set. Find some dirty stuff, or just go and scrape some data from somewhere, right, and start playing with it.
Yeah, maybe I can just quickly follow up on this.
This is Sebastian.
So, I only honestly just did one interview, was it November, with Google, and they have a tech interview also. And honestly, I didn't prepare anything because just wanted to see I'm still maybe early graduate, maybe August or something like that. So I just wanted to see how it's like, and it worked out well. So and I didn't prepare anything, and the questions were not too technical. They asked things about, gave me a problem, how would you solve it? And I think what they asked, what I couldn't really answer was, how does the garbage collector in Python work or something like that? And I said, honestly, I don't know, but let me tell you how I would do it. And then I explained a bit about reference counting, and the person said, yeah, but Python is a little bit smarter than that. They do it differently. I said, yeah, cool. How would you do it then? Or how is it different? And then kind of showing that you're interested in and learning something new. And honestly, I don't know, there are these coding books. If you are coding
like the one you wrote?
Huh?
Like the one you wrote?
Oh, that's not e-learning. But they just be more like, hey, here's a large data file and contains whatever sentences. Can you tell me, well, how would you find sentences that are equal? And I asked, for example, okay, that's interesting, but how large is the file? Can I load it to memory? And then, yeah, that's a very good question. Let's assume you can't load it to memory. So also kind of back and forth, and it was more about, I think, not actually coding it. I mean, we had like this Google Docs spreadsheet thing, spreadsheet Word equivalent. I didn't write maybe half a page or something. It was more about like the concept of how I would approach it. It was not really like syntax. And yeah, that went well. And then Lara, so they had multiple stages of interviews. One was, the next one was more about like, they gave me like questions about projects, potential projects, and how to solve them. And we didn't do any coding at all. It was more about stuff that I've done. They asked me stuff for my resume and stuff like that. So honestly, it's just like being prepared for tricky questions maybe, but not too technical, I would say. And I think Google is a very technical company, even they didn't ask too technical questions. So I would probably more worry about like stuff that you put on your resume to be able to explain in a way and how you solved a certain problem. The way of thinking and curiosity, like Sean said.
And I think also one additional thing, which is, if they're bringing you in for the interview, you're likely qualified for the position, right? Or very close to it at least, right? So keep that in mind, that they chose you now, right, to come in. So they saw something in you. And if you bring something else to the table that isn't hardcore programming, let's say, right? But you bring something else to the table where you're a good person to work with, like kind of go back on that, they can overlook certain aspects and help train you, be ready to train you. And maybe you might take a hit on your salary, right? Because they might bring you in on a more junior position if you're not as well prepared. But going back to like sort of that coding thing, right? Where oftentimes they're not asking you to know that you can implement a linked list or sorting algorithm or like, I don't know, some decision tree. But they're asking you something just to see how you think. Can you sort of navigate through a problem? Like one of the questions that I came across recently that I kind of thoroughly enjoyed, right, was something as simple as, you know, you have 10 bags of quarters, right? And all of the bags contain an infinite number of quarters, okay? So in other words, and then one of those, and all the quarters are identical, right, in shape and weight. They all weigh 1 gram each. But there's one bag out of the 10 bags that contain fraudulent quarters, and they weigh 1.1 grams each, all 1.1 grams. And I'm going to give you a digital scale, not a balanced scale, right? Just a digital scale. How many times do you have to use a scale to weigh something to determine which one out of those 10 bags actually contains all fraudulent coins? Right, and the idea there is, okay, the most naive thing I can do is, I can take, if I know that only one bag contains all fraudulent coins, the upper limit is, I use the scale 10 times. I take 1 coin from the first bag, put it on there. It's 1 gram, so I know that they're all not fraudulent. Second bag, and I do that, right? And it's at worst 10 times. Maybe the fraudulent bag is the last bag, right? So it's at worst 10 times. But then I'm sure everybody's sort of smarter. They say, well, I can sort of split, right? I can take 5 coins from these bags, weigh them. If they all, amount to, was it 5.1 grams, then the fraudulent coin is in amongst the first 5 versus the next 5. But what if I told you that the answer is you need to use the scale once? And that's actually the answer, once. And I'll leave that to you to go ponder. How do you do that once? And there's a really elegant, stupid, simple answer. That is not tricky at all. Like once you hear it, you're like, it's so good, right? But then that's a unicorn person that you're hiring that happens to either have that actually came up with the answer themselves, or they probably read it in some book, right? So it's not as impressive. That's more of like the minimum requirement.
One quick thing related to that. I think also one very important thing is to just get something answered in some way, even if you don't know the perfect solution. Before you don't do anything and say, hey, I don't know how to implement this, just do it the brute force way. And then it's also how you work in practice. What I usually do is if I have a problem, I do it in the most naive way possible. I use this as a benchmark because I know the simple way is very readable. It does the thing right, but it's not proficient. And then you can improve on it. And also in the interview, I think it's very important to have at least some solution. You can say, now let me think how I could improve it, but at least have something to show for so that you don't have nothing, that you can show that you can at least try to solve the problem somehow.
Right. And I echo that sort of same sentiment too, is make sure that you actually have put forward an effort. In fact, maybe that's a commonality between a lot of data scientists, right, is that they have this not only curiosity, but they love like problems, like solving problems, especially if it's like coding related or data related, and that just like where I spelled grammar wrong, it bothers me, right? And so if I can't get something, it bothers you enough that you go and find that answer, and you have that curiosity and that drive, and at the end of it, you can communicate it back to somebody. So the last thing is the offer. Okay, so you've sort of succeeded, you've written your resume, you've iterated enough times, and then you've gotten the interview, and you've gotten in there, and you've impressed them, and you've got this offer on the table. Congratulations. There's two goals. First thing is, please celebrate. Always celebrate. Whether it's having a beer with somebody, or going out to dinner, or telling somebody, your family, right? But then the other aspect is that when you come back down to reality, reflect. So the first thing I say is, again, this is a movie called Inside Out. You should go and watch it. It's a pretty fun movie, also by Pixar. Is celebrate because you have joy. You have this feeling of joy, and always go and celebrate. But now, once you've celebrated, you should ask yourself, I have this offer on the table, right? I haven't overanalyzed whether or not I wanted to work there prior to that. I think I do, because I sort of applied, and they had some interesting things. Maybe not everything was interesting, right? But I applied. But the next thing you should do now that you have an offer, is you don't want to waste anybody's time. Right? You want to be honest to yourself first and foremost, but then you also want to be honest with the company. And so you got to say, what are the deal breakers? So this is one of the other emotions of Inside Out, is discuss what are your deal breakers. Right? For me, is I wanted to collaborate with people. Another thing is I wanted to be compensated correctly. I also wanted to have good colleagues, good people, good problems to work with, and independence when I wanted to, autonomy, and work with things that have impact. But again, everybody's circumstances are different, everybody's criteria are different, but you choose yours. And you can also evolve those criteria through time too. But find out what your deal breakers are. And if those in fact are your deal breakers, then you can say, you know what, I really appreciate the opportunity to interview, but I think that I will have to turn this offer down, but because I don't think it's such a good fit. But keep me in mind in the future. Keep me on your radar. That's what I like to say, right? Keep me on your radar for other opportunities, because I think this is more of what I'm looking for, now that I understand fully what the job is. Because oftentimes the job description is actually very different from when you're interviewing, and you're actually talking to the manager, right, that you're interviewing with. And then they tell you that you're actually more doing this. And you may or may not like it, and it's fine to communicate that. But be honest, right, and don't waste anybody's time. And if you do need more time, don't have fear. Feel free to be empowered to ask for more time. Not 6 weeks more time, right? But something like a week is not unreasonable amount of time. A lot of times what happens is that you'll get an offer on a Friday, and they'll say, I'd appreciate it if you can give me a response by Monday, right? But realistically, if a company is willing to let you go through that interview process, and they're extending an offer, right? They want you to be hired in, right? Because they'll be a success for the company, and they'll be able to fill that position. So you do have some leverage. And so you can say, maybe you can respond on Monday and say, you know what, I'm actually at a conference right now, or I'm back home, or I'm finishing exams. Would you mind if I gave you a firm response by Friday? And they might counter and say, no, but that's okay. Again, don't take it personally, right? You have to be willing to deal with potential consequences. But if a company is sort of that aggressive with you in the first place, you might ask yourself, like, do I really want to work there, right? But that's up to you. Everybody, their circumstances are different, right? So, and another thing is the feeling of sadness, right? Avoid desperation. So again, one of the companies that I interviewed with, they made me an offer, and honestly, it was a very fair offer. And then when I countered offered, they stayed where they stayed, where they wanted to be, because that's where they had budget for, right? And it was the only offer that I had on the table. It was my first one. And I was like, I celebrated, I went through those emotions, and I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna pass. right? So, I mean, unless you need a job immediately, right? Then you have different circumstances. But if you have the time to really choose, right, to find your dream, your at least near perfect job, right? Spend that time. And that was 6 months into it, and 9 months later, I got my dream job. So don't feel desperate, right? Trust your gut instinct. Know what you're looking for. Okay? And I always sort of advocate for this. And the final thing is that when you get an offer, don't get angry. Sorry, this is the last emotion. I sort of had to put that up there because I already used joy. I do the opposite of being angry, right? It is ask for it in writing. It's great when they say, I'm offering you this, right? I want to give you a position. It's like, thank you so much. Be grateful. Always respond by saying, thank you so much for the offer. When can I get a digital or a hard copy of that physical offer? And then so I can maybe discuss it over with my family or whomever, so I can think about it, right? So always get it in writing, because it's actually poor taste if they resend the offer. That's actually a really bad thing, right? It's just not good for the reputation as a company, but get that in writing. And then if you do get far enough through that stage of reflecting, right, thinking about whether or not that's the right job, then there's that counter, right, of negotiating. And you really want to think about it as a win-win situation. Negotiating isn't about, how much money can I get? How greedy can I be? It is not about that, right? Because they're not going to pay you crazy amounts of money. But what you really want to do is know what your self-value is, right? You've graduated from a good college, and you see that within the area people are typically being paid this much. Do your market research, compare apples to apples. You can't really compare, let's say, East Lansing to Chicago or New York salaries, right? But find out what's sort of in the surrounding regions of what people hire for data scientists, maybe even like an Ann Arbor, something equivalent, right? And maybe plus or minus some amount. So be realistic about it. And when you counter, you should think about things in terms of benefits too. So there's always a base salary, what they're going to pay you. But if it's a startup, there might be things like stock options that you have to consider, gym memberships, parking, sick days versus PTO days. So your personal time off. These are two different things, right? Like personal time off is like more like vacation, that you paid vacation days essentially, right? Versus sick days, there are companies that have unlimited sick days, right? That if you're sick, it doesn't count against you, right? But there's other companies that don't have sick days where you still have to take PTO if you're going to be away, right? Ask about those and try to negotiate. Ask for 2 more days. It doesn't hurt to ask. Always feel empowered. It's not being greedy, but again, it's knowing your self-worth. That hey, some of my friends got a job here, and it sounded like they got 17 days instead of 16 days, right? And if that's the case, it is maybe if you can't give me a sick day, maybe the base salary, could you pump it up a little bit too, to compensate for that, right? Other aspects like, I think I mentioned gym membership, parking, health benefits, right? If you have dependents, think about those costs as well. Go and see what they're offering. So keep a lot of those things in mind. There's a lot of different things. Like I even get like parking reimbursement, right? And also don't forget relocation costs. Excuse me, that's another thing too. So if you're moving to different locations, just ask for it. Or signing bonuses, those are other great things, right? Or even referral bonuses, even for your friend, even not for yourself. So I've referred other people to the company, and many companies have referral bonuses. Referral is king, I'll tell you, in any company. That's why networking is important. If somebody can refer you into a company, the minimum thing that it does is that it puts you at the top of the list, right, or near the top. And then you gain experience interviewing, and you gain experience going through that process, which is in itself valuable, regardless of whether or not you even like it. It's good to get in there to know, you know what, I actually don't like this environment, which is great. And so I'll stop there, and I'm almost done. I don't really have much more after this. Any questions? Okay, I'll zip through it. I see that you guys are getting tired of me. So last words, wise words, right? Nothing I didn't say before. Get out there, get more experience. And what I mean by experience is get experience iterating your resume. Do obviously all the data science related stuff. Get experience interviewing. Don't think about it as, oh, I don't know if I'm right for this. Don't realize it. Gain experience actually talking to people, right? Knowing what they're asking and gaining that experience. And then obviously the negotiation part, right? Don't be embarrassed to counter offer and say, you know what, asking for a small percentage more, right? Because in the long run, that compounds over time. It's sort of like interest, right? So get out there and apply, and gather more data points, as I was mentioning earlier. I'm just one person with one opinion. Get out there and talk to more people, especially out in industry and out in data science. And get on social and start asking people. Say, hey, I noticed that you're working here. Like when Kevin Novak comes in, say, I'd love to ask a couple of quick questions of what it's like to work at a startup. Or when Hadley Wickham comes in, what is it like to work for our studio? Right? Get more opinions out there and go attend conferences. And then last but not least, I'd like to obviously thank the MSU Data Science Group, as also Sebastian. Appreciate helping organize part of this, and also obviously my employer for letting me come out here. And then thank you to everybody for attending. And one last word, I guess, is I'm trying to plan PyData in Ann Arbor sometime in the near future. So working with the University of Michigan, their Midas group out there, their data science group at the university, as well as some other tech startups within the local community. So look out for that. And if you kind of find me on Twitter, I'll probably tweet it out when time arises. We'll very likely partner up with local businesses and startups to do maybe some PyData meetups, like a monthly meetup, and have people in the industry give like an hour-long talk, maybe not dissimilar from what I've done today. So with that, yeah, thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any more questions. Appreciate it.